Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Gross, MICHELLEGROSS. I'm president of Communities United Against Police Brutality, but I'm also a coordinating committee member of the National Lawyers Guild. And this press conference was called today by the National Lawyers Guild to discuss issues with a private security company, essentially a paramilitary company, that has been suddenly has moved into our neighborhood here and has engaged in egregious conduct in collaboration with the Minneapolis Police Department. So we're here talking about those issues. So far, 3 people have been grievously injured by this outfit. None of the people who have engaged in assault have had any, none of the security individuals who have engaged in assault have faced any consequences for that. And yet we've got 3 people with grievous injuries. I'm working with an individual who has gotten a traumatic brain injury as a result of being punched in the head by these people just for merely walking on their little driveway and asking a question. This conduct is unacceptable, and more unacceptable even still is the fact that they appear to be in league with the Minneapolis Police Department. If you'll notice across the street, this is the parking ramp that we're talking about that has these paramilitary security forces. It is owned by a place called 7 Points, an organization. That same organization owns the mall behind it, that formerly known as Calhoun Square. This private security company, the reason I say that they're in league, if you look behind me, you'll notice that on private property are tapes that say, "Police line do not cross." Police departments, licensed peace officers are the only people who can own and use that tape. Thus, it would appear that the Minneapolis police are in fact in league with these folks and using their resources on private property to somehow guard private property. It falls in with the narrative that the city has attempted to create since the day that George Floyd was killed, which is that protesters are the problem, not the police violence we protest. This is unacceptable. It is disgusting and outrageous that our city would allow a paramilitary force to come in, brutalize its community members, and treat them as if, and treat this security force as if they somehow belong here, this is acceptable, this is right, and that we are the problem. This is unacceptable. So what we're going to have now are some people who have experienced this brutality and some lawyers who are defending it. And then after that, I'm going to read a statement from the Legal Rights Center, and then we'll have a few other folks speak as well. And so
my name's Link. There was a woman that got brutalized on this property by the mercenary group. That was 4 or 5 days ago. Last Wednesday, I went the Thursday, that following day, to get a supervisor's name or even the name of the group. And I was met with getting grabbed and told I'm under arrest. No fair warning. It didn't look like this when I went up there. All this stuff was not there. It was open. I was just going up to ask questions. And then, got brutalized, got slammed to the ground. All while an MPD officer was there. From my arrival to the whole interaction with the mercenary group. And then they finally cleaned it up and then, okay, yeah, you're going to jail, kind of deal. And I would say, I'm surprised that people like this is running around, but I mean, when you start to put everything together, right? Like, this is an international mercenary group. People were, I guess, disrupting business as usual. And it kind of makes sense. These people work in like Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq, South Africa, Israel. And it's not, it's definitely not surprising that MPD is in cahoots with them. MPD also works with the Israeli Defense Forces as well. It comes down to, like, you know, the news will tell us these people in foreign countries are, you know, whatever, however they describe them, insurgents. But I mean, now I have empathy for those people, because maybe those people are just local community members in their countries, and then some other country wants to erect a business in their community, and they're like, no, this business doesn't belong here, get it out of here. And then people like them, you know what I'm saying? People like these people that are brutalizing us here in Minneapolis are also overseas brutalizing community members abroad. And it kind of, this incident that happened to me, it gives me not just sympathy now, you know, you always toss that around, but it's empathy now for those people in Iraq and Iran and Libya and South Africa. You know what I'm saying? They're not insurgents. These people appear to be community members. So the fact that we got international mercenaries stomping around in Minneapolis, somebody made a good point. These people, the main company, North Pond Partners LLC, is headquartered in Chicago. Yet they have international mercenaries stomping around a 2-block radius in Minneapolis. That's very worrisome and troublesome to me, and I don't like that at all. And I hope the rest of Minneapolis at least finds worry in that, you know. So.
Thank you so much. This is John Barham, attorney for Commonwealth.
Hi. Real quick, I think my client here, Link, laid this out pretty well. We have a pretty egregious situation going on in Uptown right now. We have these CRG folks who, as he described, are mercenaries. We have mercenaries effecting arrests of community members who are not engaging in any kind of messed up activity. They're going up and asking who they are. Link was attacked by these people because he asked for the name of the supervisor, and it was in fact the supervisor who attacked him. This is unacceptable, and we need to get these people out of here, and we need people to know what's going on. I'm proud that we do share space in the community with people like Link, who've had the courage to go up and confront these people, and whole community needs to get involved, and we need to make this stop. Thank you.
I want to point out that this agency, this CRG organization, the only people they hire are paramilitary people. They have to have that background. We know this because we have reviewed their job listings. So this is one of the things that they have as a qualifier to be able to work in our city and brutalize people. Secondly, I'd like to point out that private security of any type has the right to tell people not to be on the property if they choose to. They have the right to even trespass people from the property. What they do not have the right to do is use excessive force on people to get them off the property. One of the people that I'm working with is a young woman who merely went to ask a question. She walked onto the driveway just a little bit to ask a question. Next thing she knows, a man comes up behind her and starts punching her in the head. He then choked her out twice, and she was literally fighting for her life. She was able to get up and run away because she's in pretty good shape, but she has a traumatic brain injury as a result of what they have done to her. She's not here today because she's getting care for that injury, and she's in pretty bad shape. And this is the individual that Link went to find out who did this to her. He was being gallant. He was being helpful. He was being a community member who cares about other community members. So we've had 3 people that have been brutalized and harassed and arrested, or almost arrested, by these characters that you cannot call actual security. You cannot call police. They don't have police powers, but they act like they do. And more importantly, they take it even further because they engage in excessive force on no basis whatsoever, no legal basis. So this is hugely problematic. I want to point out one other thing. This is the same agency that had been hired by the city of Minneapolis to provide bodyguard services, essentially, for Andrea Jenkins and Philippe Cunningham, 2 council members. So this is the very same agency. So we know that they have links with the city of some type. We haven't been able to get all of the information, but we will get it. We're going to litigate to get that information, and we're going to show the community what kinds of people the city of Minneapolis allows to operate in our community, brutalizing our community members, and this is, again, unacceptable.
Thank you.
So I'd like to read a statement from the Legal Rights Center. The Legal Rights Center is a law firm by and for the people. They provide public defense services for people with criminal charges. The Legal Rights Center stands with Communities United Against Police Brutality, Racial Justice Network, Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar, National Lawyers Guild, and all concerned community members in opposition to the use of private military contractors against protesters, those holding space, and community members in the Uptown neighborhood. We are extremely troubled by reports that employees of Conflict Resolution Group, CRG, have used needless and excessive force on multiple occasions, causing severe injuries to innocent people. And we are very concerned that the work of CRG is being done in coordination with the City of Minneapolis, that the Minneapolis Police Department did not intervene when CRG attacked the residents they are sworn to protect, further erodes what little trust this community has in its police department. The violence against our communities must end now. The Legal Rights Center remains committed to working alongside the community to address issues of equity, racial injustice, and all forms of oppression. We will continue to support the Twin Cities community by working with the community to host teach-ins, community forums, advocating for youth, and representing the most vulnerable members of our communities in criminal court. And that's again from the Legal Rights Center. So I'd like to call up Loretta Van Pelt with Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar.
My name's Loretta Van Pelt, and I'm an organizer with Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar. And I just want to express my outrage for what is going on in this community as far as having a private mercenary security group guarding a parking structure and harassing people who are rightfully mourning community members who've been harmed by murdered by the police and murdered by white supremacists who ran over a young woman with their car and used their car as a weapon. It's unacceptable that our communities continue to be like occupied by not only the cops but these private security firms that act without impunity, that don't care about the lives of the people that they're harming, that treat people so viciously, that are using violence to protect property. They're not protecting people, they're protecting property. And that's not right. That's not right. People here people are coming here and they're peacefully protesting, they're mourning, and to harm people who are protesting and mourning is wrong. And so I stand in solidarity with the people who have been harmed and injured by these people, and we say that these people should get the fuck out of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Loretta. It's so important to realize this. The city of Minneapolis, like I said before, has tried to frame this issue as one of the protesters being the problem, not the police violence that we protest. But they know they can only get away with so much through their police department. Thus, they work with these various proxies, including this CRG outfit, but also including city-paid groups who show up at protests, seize our equipment and damage our equipment, grab people, brutalize people. This has all been going on, again, as a way for the city to attack and limit the First Amendment rights of our folks by proxy. So we have to keep that in mind as well. And now I would like to bring up Tony Nordby, who was also attacked by this CRG organization. Thank you.
Tony Nordby, NORDBY. I was there on the 15th also, probably about 2 hours before this gentleman was there. It was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I came down here as a concerned citizen to see what happened the night before, as the lady had been brutalized. There wasn't all this stuff, like he said. There was police tape inside. There was a caution tape on the outside somewhere. I rode in there on my bicycle, took some pictures, was looking to verify that this is actually where, my main reason was I wanted to verify that this was really where the attack happened. So, when I was leaving, I had one of their gentlemen, an older gentleman named Joe, engage me in conversation, and that's when Nathan Seabrook, S-E-A-B-R-O-O-K, came and grabbed me physically from behind, and then his third person came up in front of me, and with the three of them, they walked me over, sat me down, took things out of my pockets, which are all things they can't do, and we pretty much sat there for a long time, listened to threats. There was no violence, but they were right on me. He was sitting here, Joe was standing here, the other man was standing right here for, I'm not sure how long it was. They had my phone, they had my ID, they had other various things from my pockets that they had taken. And then after some amount of time went by, they said, okay, we're going to give you this piece of paper that says you can't trespass here for a year. And it says that I rode my bike past the caution tape is why. And now if you look up here behind us here in this top window of the parking lot, that's their spotter. He's sitting up there. He's up there, he's got camera, he can see things from far away. He's probably got a long rifle up there with him so he can hit stuff blocks away. That's his job. They have other guys that were driving around, so during my altercation there was at least 8 of them. Between the 3 guys on me, 2 other guys, people on the roof. I had a gentleman in a black Chevy circling the block and a woman in a white Jeep. So there was at least 8 of them at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm sure they were super hot when you came because they had probably just finished up with me. So that's all I have to say. We don't want them there. We don't want them up there. We don't want them up here watching things for blocks that are going on, doing whatever he wants. CRG didn't come into existence until after the murder of George Floyd. Okay? They're less than a year old. They're just cusping a year old right now. I think that's all I got to say.
I think it's significant that Tony mentioned Nathan Seabrook. That is the gentleman that started this thing. But again, he's a paramilitary operator who has been in all of those foreign hotspots. And he has been quoted in the media. In fact, we listed on our press release a link to an interview with him where he referred to Minneapolis, compared it to a number of third world countries that he had been deployed in, but also he referred to our fair city as a shithole. So this is what he thinks about us, what he thinks about the people that are here, and why he thinks it's acceptable to deploy violence on people. And so this is unacceptable to us. And so, I don't normally use that word, but that's what he said. And so, very problematic. We cannot accept having paramilitary operators in our city over a flipping parking ramp. This is what we're talking about here, a parking ramp. Surely they understand they're not getting any revenue from this ramp right now because all of it, nobody can go in or out. They're not getting any revenue. What are they talking about here? They're guarding a piece of property by giving people traumatic brain injuries. That's outlandish. And the city is going along with it part and parcel. So we are demanding an end. We are demanding that CRG pack up their garbage and get the hell out of here. That's what we're demanding. And that we have no further people be injured by CRG. Come on in.
I just wanted to add, from what Michelle was saying earlier about the police tape, the shot spotter, all the things that seem to suggest that the MPD and the city is in league with these folks, we should also add that after my client Link was assaulted by these mercenaries, they handed him over to the MPD, who arrested him, and he's facing charges now. So, yeah, this is your taxpayer money, linked up with mercenaries, with people attacking folks in the street. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
And I just thought about something, man. This is why our people who are in Minneapolis, there's a huge contingent of the population that fight police brutality, but it can't just stop there, right? Because this isn't the police. This is a private military contracting company that capitalists have hired to protect their property. So even if we get rid of and abolish the MPD, there's still shit like this we got to contend with. You get what I'm saying? They're going to bring this in. So like, police brutality is a spoke of the umbrella of capitalism. So we got to understand that we fighting the whole thing. Not police brutality is a portion. The whole thing. The whole thing.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Sorry.
Have you asked the mayor or the city council what's their response to this?
We have submitted data requests and asked for information on this. They refuse to answer our questions thus far.
No statement? No,
Nothing, not interested in answering our questions. There was an individual, I believe you were at the forum last night. Do you want to speak to that? You can come up here if you like. Okay. Apparently, people were at the forum with the Minneapolis Police Chief, Madera Arredondo, last night, asked the question about the relationship between the Minneapolis Police and CRG, and the police chief refused to answer that question. So, you know, if you were completely clean and you were going to tell us that you have no relationship, you would have answered that question. Let's just say it that way. Other questions? Go ahead.
Dave Hutchinson, Hennepin County Sheriff, was also at that forum last night, and he seemed not to acknowledge rather the existence of CRG or the impact that they played here. Do you have any response to that?
We have to think about what public safety actually means. And when law enforcement allows mercenaries to come into our town to brutalize people who have committed no crime, then we have to really question what their role is in public safety. We have to question why the police and the sheriff's department think that that is acceptable. It tells us that they have no idea what public safety actually is. It tells us that for them, public safety is safe property and not safe people. That's my response.
To the people that have been brutalized, especially also the person who's not here, who's suffering the traumatic brain injuries, what's the recourse for them? And also, like Link, who's been arrested, and then also, what is the ramifications for them in their life?
The person that that I was talking about, the young woman who was brutally injured and has a traumatic brain injury, she owns a business. She's not able to work in her business right now. She's not able to have income, and her business is barely starting to, you know, get back on track from the pandemic. And now she's not able to work in her business, which is horrifying. You know, she is trying to make a living. She's trying to figure out how to live in this city, and she's not able to work right now because of the injuries she suffered. We are considering strongly a lawsuit. We will be announcing about that at a point later. There'll be some civil suits around this stuff. I think that's a pretty fair statement to say. Would you agree?
I think so.
Yeah. Other questions? You know, I think it's just such a, one of the things that you said to me when we first started talking about this is you said, this is an evolution in repressive tactics. I think that's such a powerful statement. This bringing in of a paramilitary group is, as you said to me, John, an evolution in repressive tactics against protesters and against activists. It's an evolution in repressive tactics. It's a new level that we have paramilitary forces who have engaged in combat in foreign countries coming here to address protesters is truly an evolution in repressive tactics. I think that's a powerful statement. Any further questions?
I got a question.
Sure.
So I know CUAPB has been on the ground. Is there anything we can do if we have any interaction with the paramilitary? Should we be contacting CUAPB or other organizations?
Yes, if you have an interaction with these people, one of the things you have to understand is that we know that much of the space around this parking ramp is actually public. They haven't attacked people on the public sidewalk, but they got very close to it. If you have a problem with these people, you should contact CUAPB. Our number is right on this poster, 612-874-STOP. 612-874-7867. We would like to take that report from you and help you to take action if you're attacked by these people.
You just said that they were actually knowing some of the history of some of the folks that they're out here looking at. Can you talk to that a little bit more?
Yes, yes. It appears that these folks are operating essentially a shadow fusion center where they're gathering information from many resources, including Facebook and all the other social media, but also it appears that they're getting it from other places as well, like law enforcement, to gather information about people who have been out here and holding space. This is a really new level. Again, like I said, it's an evolution in the repressive tactics, because they're actually, you know, addressing people by their names and things like that. It's an intimidation tactic. It's a tactic to say, we know who you are, we know your history, and that sort of thing. You know, private security, normal private security that you see at any mall or any kind of place on a daily basis does not know the names of the people in that area. They do not know their history. This is not normal private security. This is, again, a mercenary outfit that does this kind of thing, and they've created essentially what looks like a shadow fusion center. So this is really, the level is so much different than the normal kind of level you would expect. Yes, sir.
Follow-up question: do you think do you know if it would be illegal for private security to interface with the police on data or intelligence? Would that be illegal?
I would think it would be, but I'm not an expert in that area, sir. Sorry. Wish I could answer that question, but I don't know. John, do you know?
It's a gray area.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of these kind of gray areas, and it's especially gray if the two are working together. You know, if they have some type of contractual relationship. Again, something we are trying to ascertain and we haven't been able to yet. So, any other questions? I just want to say thank you so much for being out here, and also for recognizing how serious a threat this is. This isn't run-of-the-mill, like somebody got beat up at a mall, we're mad at Mall of America security or whatever, stuff like that, right? This is a whole new level. And for you to recognize that and be out here and be present, we sincerely appreciate that. Know that all of us that are standing here are going to continue to work on this issue. We're going to continue our research and our, trying to uncover all of the relationships between the city and this outfit and this outfit's nefarious past. We will be out here doing that. Trust us. But more than that, help us. Get involved. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Eric reminded me of something very important, and I'm so glad you did. One of the most important things that every single person, pretty much everybody in this whole town, has is a little what? Cell phone, right? Use that cell phone to record. The part of what is helping people who have been brutalized by these this mercenary outfit is that people videotaped it. Using your cell phone to watch the police, to watch now these private agencies, there could be nothing more important. If you see them doing something, immediately whip out that cell phone and start recording. It is 100% legal in the state of Minnesota and everywhere. So it's legal. And in Minnesota, we have what's called a one-party rule, which means that if you're taping a conversation with someone, for example, only one person has to know that the conversation is being taped, and that one person can be you. So you should tape your conversations, you should tape any interactions, you should tape when you see them attacking other people. Tape, 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 tape. Peter?
How does the thing going on with CRG, the mercenary group, in relation to relate to DOJ investigation?
That's a great question. Peter just asked a question about how does this relate, this seeming relationship between the Minneapolis police and the CRG group, how does that relate to the Department of Justice investigation? Well, it absolutely relates. The Department of Justice is investigating the conduct of the Minneapolis police. And it seems as if, at least in my mind, the Minneapolis Police Department has gotten worse since the DOJ got here. Worse. You know, exactly. And now, again, because they're trying to, sort of keep their noses a little bit clean, they are hiring people by proxy to do what they feel they no longer can get away with doing. And so this is part of that relationship. If you get attacked by any of these forces, make a report. Make it to us. We are collecting people's experiences related to the Minneapolis police, but now also these private outfits for the Department of Justice investigation. Our organization means for that investigation to be a powerful investigation, to come out with a powerful result that we can actually force change. What comes out of those investigations is what's called a consent decree, which is a court order requiring the city to take certain actions. We are going to be at the table to make sure that the court order is the most powerful court order it can possibly be, and it's going to address a lot of the problems in the MPD. It's not a panacea, but it's important, and will make real change if we're at the table to do it. And the way we're at the table is to have our ideas about what we want in that consent decree, but also to have lots and lots and lots of experiences that the DOJ can look at and see those patterns and practices that are engaged in by the MPD. So it's really important that people share their experiences, and even experiences with these private outfits that seem to be in league with the city. Peter?
Is there an online place that people can go to fill out a form for the DOJ investigation?
Peter asked about an online place where people can go on to fill out information to share their experiences. You can go to the website of Communities United Against Police Brutality, which is www.cuapb.org for Communities United Against Police Brutality.org. And you can fill right on our front page. You will see a link to a form that you can go out and fill out your experiences, and we are gathering those. We also have a whole army of canvassers going all over the city to gather people's experiences with the DOJ, as well as their ideas about how to improve policing. And so we've got to do this because, honestly, this is the one agency within the Department of Justice that can actually enforce the things that they come up with. So if there's a consent decree that comes out of this, they can enforce it through court orders, and there will be monitors, and we're going to select the monitors from the community. So this is going to be the important work of the coming time period to really, really improve policing in this community. But I can tell you this ain't the way we improve policing. This is not it. Alrighty, any further questions? You all, thank you so much for being here again. Oh, we do? I'm so sorry.
I just happened to be walking by. How do we find out where the community conversations are happening? Is there a website?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
we live right here. We've had conversations with these guys. The police have no relationship with the people in this community.
No, of course they
How
don't.
do you would not be able to represent a client that you have no relationship with. I cannot teach a student I have no relationship with. They cannot police us without a relationship.
That's right.
Where will these relationships be?
Well, the interesting thing is, that's a great question. The city, back shortly after George Floyd was killed, a little over a year ago, said, we're going to have a year-long conversation. I'm actually waiting for that conversation to start. It's been over a year, okay? And I'm waiting for it to start. They haven't had it yet. What I would encourage you to do, go on our website, cuapb.org, or Communities United Against Police Brutality. Go on our website. You will see that we have a series of events where we are talking to people about the Department of Justice investigation, what that looks like, what can come out of it, and then we're gathering people's ideas for what needs to go into that consent decree, and we're gathering people's experiences. We have events going on all over the city. We're going to be adding more events to this. Our goal is to end up with 20 to 25 events on all parts of the city to talk about these things. And, as to how you can have a conversation with the police, I wish I could answer that question, but the city is not making it available in any meaningful way. We understand that Mayor Jacob Frey has been going out on some campaign meetings.
Want to revote him.
But he doesn't. I can talk about it. But he doesn't tell us where they are, when they're going to be, and you cannot go there. He is hiding from the people, and he has been since George Floyd was killed. He hunkered down in his office. He used COVID as the excuse. He did not bother himself to even hear from the community about what is important to us. And he has been doing this ever since. And in terms of, he had this whole thing about, I'm going to put together these work groups, and we're going to figure out how to reform the police, and blah, 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 blah. That has never happened. He has brought in a few, what he calls national experts, people that we don't consider to be experts, but he didn't bring in the actual experts that count, the people that live here. So that's the reality. So I wish I could give you a better answer than that, but unfortunately, the city isn't giving us the answer.
Say you're building a condo, maybe you'll show up.
There you go. There you go. If you happen to work for Target and you're up in the C-suite, you might get a meeting with some of those people, but otherwise, forget about it. So thank you all again for your time. It's getting pretty hot out here, so unless you have anything other questions or anything, I think we're going to wrap up.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.
Just super, super, super.
Just heard from Michelle Rose.
Oh, no doubt. Actually, everyone asks about it. How are you? Thinking his name. Wow. I only got told that once. But like, congratulations. Yeah. Yeah, this thing is getting worn down.
Thank you all for joining. We're here live in Uptown Minneapolis. We're going to grab some interviews real quick, talk to some of the community folks out here about some of the situations that they've gone through and some of the situations that they see, I believe. Give me a few moments. Again, if you want to know more information about Winston Smith, go to their website, unicornriot.ninja. Yeah? All right, sweet. Right up here, perfect. So, you can introduce yourself. You don't have to if you don't want to. Talk about what you've seen up here in this last week.
Okay. My name is CJ. What I've seen in the last week is the same force that we talk about the police. The CRG, the people that they were talking about, mercenaries, they are no different from the police. They enact just like the police. They have no de-escalation strategies. They have no relationship with the people. They don't even care to talk to the people. And I think that when you have a situation like that, it makes it a dangerous environment for people who coming out here who are just trying to exercise their right. And I think we need to let the mayor know. The mayor needs to let us know, do we have a right to protest? And the chief too. Arredondo, do we have a right to protest? People are out here exercising their rights, and you're having us arrested, you're having us beat up, you're having us hurt. And then y'all talk about y'all have Agenda 21 and you want to keep the city safe. Well, where is the keeping us safe over here? We have people over here hurting us. We have people over here attacking us. And then we're just out here doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're just trying to bring attention to the people that's been murdered. And we don't get no support. The only time you care about us is when you come to our house and you want us to vote for us. We're not voters. We don't care about you. We care about you giving us justice. You know, this is happening every day. We can't even ride around and go out here and stand up for ourselves without your goon squad over here mocking and mimic us and taking pictures of and flipping us off. We pay for them to come around and flip us off. We pay for them to come around and antagonize us. And then Chief Arredondo at your meeting on Broadway, you act like you don't know what's going on. You know everything that's going on. Stop playing with us. Y'all, next time y'all just gonna wait for the next black man to get killed, and then when we see all of the destruction that happened from that, you'll just say, I'm sorry, this was unfortunate, and we shouldn't have this happen. Where are the laws at? Where are the policies at? Stop running from the people that really care. You meeting with all those people who's taking checks from you. We ain't taking no money from you. You meeting from all those people who say that they can protect us and stand for us, but no, they really hurting us because they don't know us either. I don't care if they black. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Okay? So whoever you meeting with Arredondo, whoever you meeting with Mayor Fry over North, they ain't representing the people. Them some bootlickers. Okay? Start meeting with the real people who want change and want justice, and we ain't going nowhere till we get it. I don't care how many tactics you pull out.
Can I ask you a question, or you could be done too? That was a mic drop moment, so you could have been. So when it comes to what you've witnessed with some of these CRG, some of these mercenaries that you called out, that are actually purveying violence upon the community, what is something specific that you saw? I feel like you saw one of the first instances. Can you talk about what you saw?
So I'm not sure if it was Wednesday night or Thursday night. It's so much stuff happening, it's hard to keep up track of it these days. It was one night, and I was passing through here, and I saw some men. It was like two men actually, but I saw one of the men who was closer to Haley was the lady who was injured. He was kind of standing in front of her, and I can read just situations from a distance. So I said, let me turn around because it didn't look like a good situation. I just turned around, like literally right in that little parking lot right there. And by the time I had got from that parking lot to right there, she was already on the ground. She was already being grabbed. I really didn't know what happened from there. But I initially seen that, and I just started screaming for help just to bring more attention because these guys had some kind of weapons. I know it's been talked that they had guns, pepper ball, whatever the fuck it is. They got weapons. Excuse my language. They got weapons. They got bulletproof vests. They got stuff that's intimidating when you don't got nothing on you. Okay, when you just a normal human being, somebody walking up to you in tactical gear, that's scary. So I started screaming for help and trying to get some support, and then fellow protesters and fellow people from the neighborhood stepped up. So, you know, what we seeing is the brutalization of protesters. As my brother said the other day, what war are y'all fighting? Okay, this is like the war on drugs. What crime we committing? We got a right to exercise. Let us exercise our right.
What would you want to see done to them as a consequence for what they were doing? I
want to see any contract, any agreement let go. I want to see the bills and any damages and any injuries that people have. I want to see them pay for it. I want to see any charges that was happening to people when they were out here. I want to see those drop. I want the mayor to stand up and say anybody that was arrested on 31st and Gerard, we drop your charges. We ain't talking about we gonna close them. We ain't talking about we gonna put them under your record. No, we want them dropped because guess what? I know how the system works. When you tell us that we gonna take something off your record, somebody that's gonna look for your housing in the system job, they can still find those charges. So I don't want that shit to tell me no same or similar. I want the charges dropped. And until there's any charges dropped and until filed reparations ain't to people that have been hurt and been injured by these goon squad and contracts ain't cut, we gonna keep on being a nuisance to you idiots. You can call us a public nuisance or whatever kind of nuisance you want to. We're a nuisance for justice.
You heard space from a community member. Give me 1 second. Hey, would you want to talk at all? Would you want to talk at all? You can just stand in front if you want. Okay. You don't have to announce your name. You do if you want to.
Link.
You talk about,
yeah.
Talk about
Word.
what you've seen up here. You can talk about even from the start. Winston Smith getting killed June 3rd. There was a community gathering for over a month. There was the garden popping off.
Oh, man.
And then there was consistent repression from the police. Can you talk about some of that?
Yeah. So Winston Smith got killed, assassinated on this parking structure that's been turned into a joint operations center. On June 3rd, at around 2:10 p.m., he was killed on the parking structure, assassinated by a federal task force comprising of Hennepin County Sheriff's officers and Ramsey County Sheriff's officers. To secure the scene, MPD was securing the scene, taped up. The community got down here around 4 o'clock, and then from there, it was just like a whole space, made a memorial for him after that. There was like a Mother's Love, those violence prevention groups that the state loves the contract, the city loves the contract so much. They were in the front lines talking about, how do we know this guy wasn't one of the murderers of the 3 babies over north? As you guys know, Anaya, Trinity, and LaDavion, super tragedy. Their lives were taken, their young lives were taken due to some interpersonal violence on the north side of the city. And to have these groups, use that tragedy and then try to conflate it with state violence that just happened, that was disgusting. It was super disgusting. So we had those people up at the front line doing that. And then, the community just like, no, forget this. We're going to hold space. You know what I'm saying? Fast forward 10 days later, Deanna Marie was hit by a terrorist, white supremacist. He was coming 100 miles. I guess they're saying 80 miles an hour, whatever. The engine was loud. He was coming fast down Lake, and then, murdered Deanna Marie. What happened? Through 3 barricades. Crushed through 3 barricades. That's how fast he was going. His car made it through 3 barricades. Then he murdered Deanna Marie. Also keep in mind, for the 10 days, Winston died and then Deanna Marie died. 7 Points never reached out to the community, never reached out to the family, never did none of that.
7 Points is the owners of the property.
Right. 7 Points or 7 Points is the name of the property. North Pond Partners LLC is the owner. They're from Chicago. They're based in Chicago. They never reached out to the family or the community, not once. Magically, when the community decided to make a garden to plant life where life had been taken, And then they realized that they weren't going to get rid of us. You know what I'm saying? They came and, you know, now they're coming and they're like, yo, we're giving them permission. You know, they came with a whole optics spiel. You know, they made a sign and said, this is the 7 Points Community Peace Garden, and gave us rules and whatnot, hours of operation of dust to them. Like, hold on. Y'all didn't make this garden. Y'all didn't even create space for this garden. Y'all ain't even consult us. Y'all just came to us with signs, talk about, oh yeah, we're in cahoots with you guys. Nah. So those signs got taken down almost immediately. And, you know, the community stayed and hired more violence prevention groups to come and like, so the repression from the police was coming in different forms. I still call it state repression because the state is hiring these violence prevention groups. The state is authorizing these capitalists to hire these private mercenary groups that are coming and brutalizing community citizens. So it's state violence, man. And they hired more violence prevention people. Some protesters got their phones slapped out of their hands. A couple protesters got assaulted by the violence prevention groups. Not even just these mercenary groups. These mercenary groups weren't even here yet. So then I guess 2 months of that we were dealing with, growing the garden, getting some structure about ourselves, figuring out next steps forward. And then, yeah, one morning we wake up and guys, and it's dawn. And it's eerie, but glow lights at dawn, right? There's these people, these mercenaries showed up with their plate carriers, and they're all geared up, and they got glow sticks in their plate carriers, and it's like 4 in the morning, and it's like dawn is just creeping up into the sky, and then you got these paramilitary soldiers. We're all look, yo, who are these? MPD? Who are these people? The violence prevention dude comes up and he's like, yo, these people are anonymous. We told y'all should have got up out of here. We don't know who these people is. They just came to us and told us y'all got 5 minutes to leave. And then that's just like, yo, hold on, what? Like, if this is MPD, we'd be like, hold on, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. Yeah, that pretty much. And then so when they came here, the garden got evicted. The community wanted people to know that it was never about the garden. Winston Smith was assassinated, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to still stand for Winston Smith. And then Deanna Marie was killed by a white supremacist. We know who he wanted to hit, right? Just so happened he ended up hitting a white lady, but it was people out there for a black life, that, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Deanna Marie. But this guy, we know it could have been any of us, and we understand that. And like, yeah, for this, oof.
Yeah, that's a lot. Thank you for running all that down. And then so that day they come, they start eradicating the garden, and then within days later, they enacted. Well, even that same day they enacted this little yellow tape.
Not even on the backside. On the front side, it was all locked down. On the backside, it was still open, right? Like. This wasn't here until like yesterday or a couple of days ago, and you can actually see once there will be stories and videos will be released that the videos where people were community members were getting brutalized by these people. None of this stuff was here. It was just like an opening. Like it looked inviting. Like if someone like, yo, I want to know what's going on. Who are you people walking around with guns in my neighborhood? You know, the company or the business that hired you won't identify you. So I mean, I guess I got to come to the horse's mouth, right? And then. No questions, you know, they're brutalizing people who ask questions. You heard Hallie just wanted to ask who the fuck they were, and then she got brutalized, and then people wanted to know what happened to Hallie got brutalized.
And that's what happened to you, so you just walked up there. What were you thinking when you walked up there?
Like, yo, like, if this was MPD, there would be a protest at a precinct right now if we couldn't identify officers beating up on somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like, yeah, I get they may operate on a whole different rules. They're private, and they're protecting private property and what, but, like, at a certain point, you man, you got to confront people like this if they're in your community. You know what I'm saying? These are weirdos, man. These are weirdos. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I was ready for whatever at that point. Like, you know, just like, give me answers. You know what I'm saying? And we still don't have it. The answers we got is from the community, the investigative community, digging into who was occupying their neighborhood. They didn't give us these answers. The city didn't give us these answers. 7 Points and fucking North Pond Partners LLC didn't give us these answers. The community had to dig for these answers. You know what I'm saying? Brave community members. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
During the presser, you talked a little bit about your experience. Can you talk about more, if you want to divulge in more, like, what would it feel like getting sort of harassed and arrested by them? I know that they were also trying to stop you possibly from going to a public easement area.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that if you want to?
Yeah, so I within seconds of me approaching and asking questions, I'm accosted, and I think physical contact was made before I was even like directed to leave the property even. And then at that point, you know, I'm starting to back up because I don't want him touching me at that point. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, then he grabs me. He like 4 feet to the left of me is an easement that I could have went on that's public property. The guy intentionally got in between me and the easement and then started coming to my backside so I couldn't like walk off the property, and then grabs me. So, you know, while he's grabbing me or whatever, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. He's telling me I'm under arrest. An MPD officer who's there from the jump walks up nonchalantly, casually. Link, you're under arrest. Link, stop resisting. Link, you're under, you know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. His buddies come out of the parking structure, hands on their weapon. And one of them comes out with like a marker round shooter. So like I instantly drop to the ground. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, you know what? You know, this isn't. It ain't this right now. So, you know, I drop to the ground. They get to like roughing me up or whatever, trying to put me in zip ties and stuff. The police is like, yeah, Link, you're under arrest. So then they pick me up, put me in the parking structure, and I won't say what, but the supervisor of the security company stated some details about me. All he should know is that I am somebody asking questions, and the officers just identified me as Link, right? That's all this guy should know as a security personnel for a business, right? He starts pointing at some of the property that he's taken out of my pocket while I was in zip tie. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think they're allowed to do that. He's taking my personal property out of my pocket, pointing at it, talking about, basically saying, identifying things about me and correlating me to my property, and you know, saying like, yo, this. Like, yo, how do you know that about me, bro? You're a private security company. You know what I'm saying? How do you know this about, bro? Like I forget, somebody said during the press conference, like, if you're in Target, dude, the loss prevention people at Target don't know who the fuck you are unless they have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was kind of you know, worrisome. But then it made sense once there was the community did that investigation work, and then a podcast and then their About Me came out, and then it just said like, yeah, they comb through social media. Like, this is what they do. They specialize in anti-stalking measures, protecting business executives from political extremists. Well, if you're protecting a business executive for political extremists, I mean, I would think you're being diligent on the political extremists you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, eradicate. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that it just made sense after the story came out. From the community, once again, not from these guys, not from the city, not from the business who hired them. The community did the investigative work. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for all that. Is there anything you'd want to say about them there in regards to some of the things that the community have found out about them that might have not been said at the press conference? Anything like that? This is your time.
Oh, this is a brand new company started during the uprising, the George Floyd uprising. They're like, there's gonna be articles coming out too, but like there's like the headquarters that they have is just like a unit in a building, and it's a occupied. It's a vacant unit in a building. So like it looks weird. The CRG headquarters, like where their address is like, looks like a front company. So tack that on with the fact that they work international. Nathan Seabrook, on his resume, his most recent job was a foreign service officer for the United Nations. You know what I'm saying? You Google his name, it's all type of United States government stuff pop up. So like, you know, I don't know who exactly who exactly the community is. I don't know who exactly these guys are occupying the community, but the community's not scared of them. You know what I'm saying? No matter what their background is, no matter what type of weird stuff they do here and overseas, you know, the community's gonna stand tall to them. You know what I'm saying? And I want them to know that.
Yeah. We were talking to CJ real quick. Maybe the last thing, we asked them, what would you want to see done in consequence for some of these actions that the mercenaries are doing against the community? In terms of you, do you feel like there should be some repercussions against them or the city or the Minneapolis police for their partnership? Anything like that? What do you feel?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think they should be gone. I mean, you got somebody adjusting the camera right now. I don't know what they're doing, trying to. Yeah, I don't. I want these guys gone out of our community. These guys. I mean,
I don't want them operating internationally neither. Now that I, you know what I'm saying, the empathy that I have for the people that they're messing with in these other foreign places, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's a different story. Definitely want them out of Minneapolis, you get what I'm saying? And like, MPD doing a partnership, this is private property. There's a shot spotter on private property. You can't get a shot spotter put on private property if you're private security. You got to work with the city to do that, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say this is a joint operations center. Someone's called it a fusion center. That's exactly what this is, but like, involving paramilitary corporations. Fusion centers only usually involve state and federal level law enforcement. This is involving paramilitary contractors. So this is like a step up. Evolved repression is what, and that was a powerful statement. This is evolved repression right here. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
Nah, that's it, Nico. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. This one real quick. Hey, you want to do the interview?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, man.
We're gonna walk around. We'll be back.
You can grab this. You can say your name. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Oh man, what an honor, man. I get to hold it.
It's all you.
Oh man, y'all understand. I remember when it started, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, now we got to hear. We live. We on.
Live. What has it been like up here at Winston Marie Garden, up here fighting for Winston Smith, but also facing the repression that y'all have been facing?
Well, what it's been like is living hell, smiling, watching people yell against us, thinking they're gonna go back to, as they say, life is normal, back to business, but that shit only mean I gotta come even harder. Yeah, I got beat. Yeah, I got fucked up over here in the back. Yeah, he took a little cheap shot. Yeah, I'm still here though. You know, you can never kill the message. You want to interview me, or you just want me to go?
Hey, you can go, and then I'll ask questions. That's cool.
All right. You know, I'll rock with you the long way, man.
Because of the sun,
Yeah.
you can't really see your face. If you're cool with standing in the sun, hey, perfect. Thank you.
I'm great. I'm good now.
Yep. All right. Keep
All
going
right.
now. I can ask you questions once you're done.
All right. Well, you ask away.
All right. You say you got beat. What happened? When?
I was standing here watching people exercise their First Amendment rights, and then as I was doing so, cops charged people out of nowhere. You didn't hear no dispersal orders or anything. And then, you know, they started trying to hit people, push people, tackle people, trip people. You know what I'm saying? And I grabbed my bike, went to walk away, and the dude walked from the fucking corner, talking about, come here, don't run, so on. I was talking shit. I know what I did and all of this, a bunch of lies. I started to run and stop because I realized, hey, this guy got the wrong fucking dude. You know what I'm saying? You got the wrong person. Hey, man, you tripping. It wasn't me you talking about. You know, I just walked up just like you walked up. Like, we watched each other walking up to the shit going on, and he just came for me. Boom, punch. You know, he took a little cheap shot, punched me, then grabbed me, talking about some, what he gonna yell? Don't fight me. Don't fight me. Like, oh, wow, for real, dude? Stole all my weapons. I wasn't charged with shit, but nuisance. You know? Nuisance.
You were spending time at the garden. Why? What brought you out to the garden?
Because a white woman was killed because she was saying Black Lives Matter. Well, Deanna Marie lost her life because she was standing for what she believed in. But to me, it was just the fact that somebody white died because they were saying Black Lives Matter. And I remember when I had comrades in Portland, one died and one survived. And I remember in a different part of Washington, in Ohio, and that was all after Heather Heyer lost her life. So I came because I was hurt, and I thought I wasn't going to have to protest again. I thought I was done. And the fact that happened let me know that I got to get back out here and show people how to keep safe and what safety really about in these situations, because she was never supposed to lose her life.
Thank you for that. Bringing that up, you've been in this movement for a long time, over 7 years, basically, right?
Yeah.
Can Can you talk about what, like where do you see this movement right now, especially after the biggest uprising we've seen with George Floyd, but then also after the police interactions with the community, and now that has, as we've heard, evolved. Can you talk about where you feel that things are right now?
Well, I guess what they say, when it's up, the Cardi song, if it's up, then it's up, then it's up, then it's up. That's what it is. We understand what we facing. We understand the repressions. People became globally aware that they're using chemical warfare on us. They doing all kind of stuff that they shouldn't do and couldn't do and wouldn't be allowed to do in warfare, in the theater of war, because that's what it is, a theater. So they playing the game, and it's like, okay, you're gonna create the enemy. You're gonna let the pot sit and boil, and when it simmer over, you can't put out you can't put out a grease fire with water. So they want to keep doing what they doing. You're gonna get what you asking for, inevitably. It's like nobody wants to fight, nobody wants to feel pain, but I want to live. I want to do more than just survive. I want to do more than have to tell my little cousins or the shit my aunties and mom and them try to tell me, just cooperate, just be nice. Fuck all that. That time and day and age over with. We fighting back. If you touch us, we touching you back. We fighting back. You're not finna just violate us. You're not finna just kill us. You're not finna just keep thinking you're gonna do what you're doing and nothing's gonna happen to you. You're gonna try the wrong person or people or group, and the shit gonna go up, and it ain't never gonna turn off. That's where I see it's going. It's already here. Like what they say, George Floyd, we had riots in every single city. Major protests in every single city. The biggest protest in civil rights history since it's been civil rights. So it's like, yeah, man, we still the same people. We still Minneapolis, and I think they forget that. So, all power to the people. Brown power to brown people. Black power to black people. Yellow power to yellow people. White power to white people. And all power to any people who willing to stand up and face any injustice and oppression.
Anything else you want to say?
Nah, man, I love Unicorn Riot. This my brother through and through. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't harass him if I was y'all. I'll be watching, reading the little chats. So stay off my man shit. Stop harassing people. We gonna protect this reporter. We gonna protect his company and all of that with everything I stand for. Do not fuck with Unicorn Riot, or you gonna have a problem with me and everybody that stand with me. Hell yeah, man. Damn, bro.
Appreciate you.
I was bragging about the fucking when we was first doing, like, all the first shit, the first highways, the first everything, and this right there. I seen somebody, bro, he walked up on me, I forget his name, he was like, hey, we was at a protest, he walked up, he like, hey, you tour friend, and I was like, I was cooking, matter of fact.
One sec. Had to finish off a conversation real quick.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You know,
Robin Wanzu-Wolova.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Alright, sorry about that. Some communications had to be had. So, this right here is the side of the parking ramp where you see it's what everybody was sort of talking about. This is the private property. This is what they're saying is a shot spotter. Looks like lights to me, I'm not sure. You have the officer that's doing the recon is up there now pointing the camera at us based on where we go. So you heard a bunch of community voices speaking about sort of even what brought them out to the protest in general. Winston Smith was killed on June 3rd, as we heard, by a federalized task force called the North Star Task Force. He was killed, the person he was with, the witness he was with, who was his date, he was just on a date in the midday. She said that he did not have a gun. The police said he did, and that he produced the gun and possibly fired at them. They later said that they found shell casings and the gun, a gun, in the driver's compartment. That has not been verified or proven by the state. The BCA is on the investigation. There has been lawyers from the date that has specifically stated that he tried to pull out his phone to go live on Facebook when the police were running up on him at the top of his parking ramp. The police also were in unmarked cars and unmarked clothes, and so therefore it was about like 7 to 12 agents running at him and driving and boxing him in at the same moment. He did have a warrant for a gun charge, which he was actually very outspoken about on social media. After he was killed, there was protests. Those protests continued, and the duration lasted for over a month, basically. 10 days after Winston was killed, Deanna Marie was killed, as you also heard, by Nick Kraus, who drove very fast into the crowd of people at about 1 a.m., 12 a.m. during the nighttime. July 13th, I believe. Excuse me, June 13th, I believe. And after he was killed, they charged, the police have charged him with vehicular manslaughter or something like that in the beginning, and then they charged him with murder, I believe. Winston Smith's killers have not been named. The BCA. So here's the case with they were all marshalized. They were all federalized agents. So the U.S. Marshals runs the federal task force called North Star Fugitive Task Force. That was created, or there was the people who manned that or who worked for that were Department of Corrections, BCA, Hennepin County, Ramsey County, and other sheriff's departments. Since the U.S. Marshals did not have the ability to have body cams for its agents, there was no body camera footage. That's a big discrepancy. Other agencies pulled out of the task force after the killing, stating the need to have body cameras. So that's one of the funky things going on. Beyond that, a lot of the funkiness was that they will not name the two officers, a Ramsey County Sheriff and a Hennepin County Sheriff, because they say that they are working in undercover capacity, and so therefore they will not name them. You see this is a no trespassing sign here. People have been on the other side of this building, created a garden, and have been holding space in a protest, as well as on top of the parking ramp where Winston Smith was killed. One second, gotta move, there's somebody walking by. So beyond that, the police have not come out and made any statements. They last updated their statement on June 9th, or June 9th, I believe, to state that they found the gun in the driver's compartment, that the workers, the two sheriffs were acting in an undercover capacity, so they will not be named, and that they were from the Ramsey County Sheriff's and the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department. So one officer from each of those departments has specifically killed Winston. With the federalized task force, it seems like they will escape culpability and not face any accountability, even if it's proven that Winston Smith did not have a gun. And right now there's no way to prove it besides his date, who the state does not believe. So we will see what happens with the Winston Smith case. Beyond that, the property that they killed him on was at the top of this roof. The roof, as we heard, is owned by North Point, I believe, or Northland Group, and CRG is their contracted security, who's also this part of the land is called 7 Points, I believe, and the CRG is operating in the security capacity to sort of arrest and brutalize anybody that comes through this area that they feel are trespassing. Now it looks like the ramp is open to some capacity, so evidently if people are just using the ramp, or if workers are just using the ramp from this area, that they seem to be okay to be doing that. Beyond that, it does not seem to be open for anybody else. As we heard, people try to just walk up and ask what's going on, and they were arrested and also beat. So last Wednesday there was a big fracas that happened. Continue to follow our work at UnicornRiot.Ninja. We will have a complete report about this. We have some videos that we will be putting up, as well as an article that we will be putting up to sort of deep dive into this happenings here in Uptown Minneapolis. And if you want to know more information about Winston Smith, check out our website. Want to know more information about Deanna Marie, check out our website. UnicornRiot.Ninja, check out our Twitter feed, UR_Ninja, Facebook, YouTube, and Vimeo, as well as Instagram, Unicorn.Riot. Again, stay tuned for us for more information from this case, from the CRG, from these mercenaries, from this response of the city and other folks in the city, as well as other protesters. Continue to follow us. So thank you again. This is Nico from Unicorn Riot. Dan, thank you so much for running the back end. We'll take the stream down, and you all have a good week. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace.